A brutal murder, a local scandal, a search for justice. Inner city Melbourne, 1921. 12-year-old Alma Tirtschke runs an errand for her grandmother. She's to deliver a parcel of meat to her aunt who lives close by and return home. But Alma never arrives. Early the next morning, Alma's lifeless body is discovered, strangled and dumped in Gun Alley Lane. It's a truly shocking crime, the worst, and the public demand justice. Police respond by offering a £1,000 reward, second only to the money offered for the Kelly gang. Alma was last seen near a wine saloon. Detectives question its proprietor, Colin Ross, a man who'd had his fair share of run-ins with the police. He saw Alma, but only briefly, and denies having anything to do with the girl. He even offers an alibi. He spent that day and most of the evening with a woman. Shortly after, other witnesses come forward, offering a different story.
Yeah, his arms were covered in something that looked like blood. I saw a little girl there, behind the beaded curtain. He said to me he choked her.
The most damning evidence against Ross comes from a former employee of the wine saloon, Ivy Matthews. Matthews alleges to have seen Alma at the bar, but also that Colin Ross admitted to the whole crime.
He said, "I did not take her in there with any evil intention."
Ivy Matthews' statement is further supported by physical evidence. Strands of hair are found at Ross's home and they appear identical to Alma's. Police now have enough evidence to charge Colin Ross with the rape and murder of Alma.
I swear by Almighty God, I am an innocent man!
The jury disagree. Colin Ross is found guilty and sentenced to hang, but he continues to proclaim his innocence. Whilst awaiting his execution, he writes a letter desperately seeking help. I appeal to the people of Australia to see that I get justice.
I am an innocent man.
He hopes that someone will find it and take it to the press. Miraculously, a passerby picks up the letter outside Melbourne jail and takes it to the newspapers who publish his plea. This is embarrassing to the police, but not enough to stop the execution. On April 24, 1922, Colin Ross goes to the gallows, still proclaiming his innocence to his last breath. Though Colin Ross is gone, questions around his trial continue. Some 70 years later, and the case still fascinates a curious historian who goes on a journey to discover the truth. He finds that the £1,000 reward brought out some interesting characters. A former prisoner, a prostitute, a burglar serving a prison sentence for robbery, and the former employee, Ivy Matthews, who'd been sacked by Colin Ross only weeks before the murder. This group seemed motivated only by revenge and the temptation of a £1,000 reward. Learning about the fragility of the case, the historian turned his attention to the crucial evidence of the hairs. Amazingly, they were still on file and police allow him to re-examine them one more time. The DNA results were conclusive. The hairs that convicted Colin Ross are not from Alma. Colin Ross was an innocent man, wrongly executed for murder. In 2008, over 80 years after his execution, Colin Ross receives a posthumous pardon, the first and only person to do so. His pleas of innocence are finally heard. Alma Tirtschke's killer got away with murder, and she was quite possibly not their only victim.